All right, what's good, world? Peace. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind Sports and Entertainment live stream. Got a nice guest,
Oh yeah,
special guest coming in today. I'm getting ready to introduce him in just a second. Um, Man, good to be back to another weekend. Well, I won't jump into what I was going to jump into because I got Tyler McCreary on the phone now. So I'm getting ready to bring him in. He's fighting next Friday night on, I believe he'll be on ESPN Plus, but he's on the undercard of the the Teofimo Lopez and Masayoshi Nakatani card, which is an IBF eliminator for the lightweight division. But like I said, Tyler is getting back into action, so I wanted to get him on here and chop it up with him. So what's going on, Tyler?
man, not much, man. Just chilling on, waiting, counting the days down, waiting to fight back.
So you want to tell the people why we running a little late, man, since you done got me yelled at a little bit?
Oh man, my bad, man. I had some miles that I had to get in this morning, man. But I couldn't put them to the side. I totally forgot that I had to do this. To be honest,
Oh, no problem, no problem. I appreciate your time, man. Who'd you run with this morning?
I ran with myself.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so I really don't really, get into all that with other fighters and stuff.
You don't have that Manny Pacquiao entourage out with you?
Nah. Some people seem to run that throughout the city, and sometimes at the park that I run at, but I don't really got the entourage like that.
They don't. Toledo's finest. They don't get the cops out there with you like your man Javante Davis.
Nah, they don't do that
Do you always run this close, to fight night or fight
Oh
week?
yeah, yeah. Most definitely. I run maybe up to like the day before weigh-ins, 2 3 days before the fight. I run. So, but I don't run as far and as hard. I just get like a little jog in.
Okay. So what was today? Was today just a time run or a distance run, or what was
No,
today's?
today was just a light jog. I just wanted to get a few more to loosen up. I'm really not doing much today.
Okay. All right. Hey, so let's jump into it a little bit, man. Well, actually, got a couple minutes, so let's just let folks know about you. It's been a moment since you and I talked, and kind of new thing here on this little live stream that I've been trying to work. But I'm trying to find something real quick. There we go. So let's let people know a little something about you away from the game, man. Who's your favorite fighter? I don't know, past or present.
My favorite fighter president right now, I'll probably say between. I got a few to be honest, but between Crawford and Spence, you can't really. And Canelo is really like the top dog right now. He's like an OG in the game, but he's young as hell. But Canelo, Crawford, and Spence is kind of like top three to be honest.
Okay. Canelo, Crawford, and Spence. A couple interesting names. Who's your favorite non-boxing athlete?
Mm, Favorite athlete that's not a boxer. Man, I'm terrible on sports right now. Really, I haven't even been getting into like watching any sports but boxing. I barely watch boxing, but I would say favorite non-boxing athlete would
Oh,
have to be LeBron because he's from Ohio.
okay, okay. Um, you said you're not watching too much too close right now outside of boxing, but
Yeah, not really.
are you aware of kind of what they've been how they kind of been getting LeBron together to make a run at a ring next year?
Man, I've been seeing like a lot of teams been pairing up with each other and getting help, but that's really all that they've been doing lately anyway. So I haven't been getting into that.
I don't blame you. You mentioned that you were out getting in some road work. Who would be on your playlist right now to get you motivated for the first few minutes? 2 or 3 songs that would be on your playlist.
Man, I be in different vibes lately, man. Like today, I was on some Drake shit. Like I was listening to Drake for a long time. Usually I listen to like a lot of rap and stuff like that, but I've been listening to Drake. I've been slowing it down a little bit.
Okay, okay. I see you from time to time on Facebook looking for TV series to watch. What's the last series that you got into or that you liked?
Man, I got into the Stranger Things. I've been hit to that since it first came out, and I finished that whole season 3 of that. Uh, Now I've been watching a series called The Chosen One. It's kind of stupid, but I watched all of that too.
All right, all right. Since you kind of messed up my last question for you, but what's the? I guess I had to do something off the top of the head. What's the best fight city in the state of Ohio?
The best fighting city in the state of Ohio? Come on, man. We know that's Toledo. we know that's Toledo, but Cincinnati started it all. To be honest, that was Cincinnati season. They was my top dog. We crept up there, man. We had to put it in the works and grind, and now we carrying it.
Okay, all right. I'm not gonna begrudge you on that. We don't have enough bodies just yet down here in Dayton, so I'm kind of, I just have to roll with what you have to say.
Oh yeah.
Hey, well, let's get into some of this boxing, man. Like I said again, appreciate your time, and well, when you heading out? When you heading out for DC?
I think I'm heading out Tuesday or Wednesday. Most likely, probably Wednesday or something like that.
Okay, all right.
Way into Thursday.
All right, man. So you moved over to Top Rank. You what was that? Back in maybe March or so, you had this draw with Roberto Castaneda, who's 23, 11-1, 16 knockouts. He's a guy who had been in previously with fighters that we know like Jojo Diaz, Jesse Magdaleno, Gary Russell Jr. You guys fought to the draw. What did this do for you? I mean, what's your walk away from this? I mean, you had made a lot of progress since I met you in 2016. You were ranked, by a couple of the sanctioning bodies and whatnot. And I looked earlier today doing a little bit of research. This took away all of that from
you. Yeah. Actually, that fight right there taught me a lot, to be honest. I went about losing the weight wrong, and I was out from fighting for about 12, 13 months. Since I was into that dispute with Rock Nation and stuff like that. So I was out of the fight game for about 12, 13 months, and I come back in March and still want to make 126. My body's different. I'm bigger, I'm growing. I'm older. Can't really lose the weight and be comfortable the same way I was, back in 2016, 2015 when we first met. So I was kind of drained that fight, and I tried to make 26 and couldn't do it the right way, the proper way. So that took a lot out of me. Fight night, I didn't have it in me to really sit down and put the cuts on my punches and do what I wanted to do. I still felt I wanted to fight, to be honest. I still felt like I beat him every round. He was busy or whatever, but none of the punches was like hurting me or phasing me or even landed, to be honest. But that was just a stepping stone, something taught me a lesson. It won't happen again. We made a note of those mistakes that I made.
Is this I mean, how much weight do you think you had to come down, and is this something that you kind of oversaw by yourself? Maybe.
Well, that fight, I was coming down a lot, to be honest, to 126. This fight, I still cut a lot of weight this fight, but I'm doing it the right way, and I'm not going down to 26. I'm fighting this fight at 130. So that's probably the reason why, too, that they took me out of the rankings and the sanctions fight, because that was that featherweight, and this moving up to 130 super feather. So after this fight, I should be ranked again, to be honest.
Okay. Did this impact your outlook at all? Now kind of having to work your way back up the hill, so to speak. I feel like I gotta work my way back up. Especially after this like that. I mean, he wasn't a bad opponent because he just fought to a decision with a former world champion, a world champion that was 22-1 with 22 knockouts or something like that. He fought to a decision with that guy, and that was right before I had fought him. So how did this was, like I said, a new situation with Top Rank coming over from Rock Nation. How did they present this fight to you and this opportunity to you? What was the kind of the objective for you with this fight?
This wasn't even. I don't run through so many opponents for a fight. It's crazy. Like, you would think after that draw it'd be easier to get opponents and people to fight me. This is probably about the fifth person that we had. First, I don't know, I forget the guy's name, but I had about two other guys, a black guy and another guy from Ohio, and some other guy they told me to pick from. And I picked the other guy. And then there was a guy from Cali I was supposed to fight, Ivan Delgado, but I think he had some legal issues or something he had to take care of, so we couldn't get that fight, which was actually, I thought it was a cool fight. I think the guy was 10-2 or 10-1 or something like that. He was a good fight. He could fight too. But like I said, he was going through some other stuff that he had to take care of. And then they sent two other opponents, which was the guy I'm fighting now and another guy from Ohio. I'm like, man, they keep sending these Ohio guys. But I took this guy because his record was better. He fought better opposition. And I feel like after this fight, because he was actually ranked before, I remember the name, he was ranked before a spot under me or something like that.
Okay.
So I think this fight, I felt like this fight was a better fight for me, a bigger fight.
I didn't mean this upcoming opponent. I meant when the first fight against Castaneda, when Top Rank comes to you. This is the beginning of your relationship with them. What was kind of their objective with you in that fight?
Actually, the same thing kind of happened with that fight. I ran through opponents through that fight too, and they sent that guy and other guys, and I picked him because he was the best. He was the best guy. He just, like I said, he just fought a former world champion. So, and I watched that fight on TV. I was actually tuned into that fight. I'm like, I didn't even believe that he took the fight because he fought that guy at 122 or something like that. Or some small weight, like 122 or 125 or something. So I'm like, he probably was gonna take the fight with me. He know I fought bigger before, and but he took it, and I felt like that was a good fight. I wanted that fight.
All right, we had a question from the chat room. My man Carlos Castillo out on the West Coast. He's asking, what were you doing during the 13 months of inactivity?
Man, during the 13 months, I was trying to stay busy, stay in the gym and stay focused or whatever. I was doing that, but some days I get, kind of discouraged and lost. I'd stay out the gym for a couple of days or whatever. My ego habits, I was eating crazy, not having the motivation that I needed, management telling me that we're going to fight here, are you ready for a fight? And it'll be all over. I'm supposed to fight at least 3 or 4 times in between that 13-month layoff, and it never happened.
Was there any difficulty?
So that kind of discouraged me.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead. Finish.
No, that's all good. I just said that kind of discouraged me. He kind of fights for a long back to back.
Were there any issues with coming out of the situation with Rock Nation, or did that just kind of expire on its own? I know we had talked at a couple club shows and everything, and you expressed your frustration with it. Did that just kind of end on its own, or was there some time that you had to wait out to move past that?
Man, to be honest, I'm gonna be all the way honest. I didn't think I was gonna get out of that deal with Rock Nation as easy as I did, with nothing. The thing that I did was I contacted Jessie Cris I signed with Jessie Cris, and I told him that I was trying to get out of my contract with Rock Nation. I gave him one chance. I said, if Rock don't get me on this card, I think it was a Maurice Hooker card when he fought, when he defended. I'm like, if they don't get me on this card or have to fight or somewhere soon, then get me out of my contract. And he said, yeah, we're going to do that. And I didn't think that it was going to be that easy, without no complications. And they just released me like, there it is. Like, I ain't understand it. They put all this money into the fighter and build me up. I think I was about 2-0 when I signed with Right Nation. And I just departed from them at 15-0. So I'm like, damn, they just released me like that.
Wow. You broke up a little bit there. Who was it that you contacted or gave told them what your wishes was? Who was that individual?
Jay Prince, that's my management now.
Okay. All right. Well, you just mentioned that Toledo is a bit of a hotbed, for the sport right now.
Yes, sir.
What did you think about about Albert Bell, the fight with Andy Vincez and him taking home the WBC junior title that he won back on the Tyson Fury and Schwartz card?
To be honest, like that when Albert first told me about that fight, he had texted me like I'm fighting this guy, and this guy fighting this guy, and I think they trying to let us link up. When he first told me about that fight, I'm like, bro, that's about to be your easiest fight ever. No cap, I told him that like as soon as he texted me, like that's about to be the easiest fight for you, cause dude, that style is tailor made forever. Like they don't understand. Like this dude gonna box. He can box around, box circles around it. And he was just too little. Yeah, Albert's big as hell for 130.
Wow. So that's interesting. I mean, I thought Vincez, obviously had the experience advantage going in and had fought the bigger names, bigger fights and whatnot. But I was very impressed from the opening round. And Albert, despite me just kind of seeing him at club shows over the last couple of years, I thought he handled the bright lights pretty well. So once I saw that he was comfortable and had the opening round that he had, I thought it was going to be kind of problematic for Vincez.
I mean, yeah, but I still felt like it was going to be easy. This fight, them the type of fights that we asked for. Even though the bright lights and the atmosphere be different, like we asked for those type of fights. We asked to be there. We asked to, to shine under the bright light. So when it comes, you gotta put it the work and do your thing.
Right. Another question from the chat. Question and comment, but Jay Prince could have had something to do with getting his release. Question: what does Prince bring to the boxing game, in your opinion? What does he do for you? I know I've had Joshua Greer Jr. on a couple times, who fights later on tonight. He's also managed by Jay Prince. But what's Jay Prince done for, in your opinion?
He do a lot for boxing, to be honest. Especially for fighters. He show us, the ins and outs. He keep it real with us. You know what I'm saying? He keep his word with us and show us how a fighter's supposed to be treated by management. He's supposed to take care of their fighters. I see a lot of fighters out here got managers and stuff, and they can't really touch them and feel them. You know what I'm saying? They got managers that they haven't seen, and you don't know how long, and the management don't call or text back. Just to show you how a fighter's supposed to be treated, man. He can do a lot for his fighters.
What's been the biggest difference for you moving over? Obviously, I mean, Top Rank is, decades deep into this thing and, operates like a well-oiled machine. Rock Nation being, was a new kid on the block, definitely. What's standing out to you the most, with how these organizations go about their business?
What stands out to me the most with Top Rank is that they promote their fighters. With Rock Nation, Man, they had all the star power in the world to promote their fighters and celebrities, and they didn't do it. Like they didn't push any of it. They don't promote any of it. Like still to this day, I don't even know how many fighters they still got. All I know is that my man, one of my guys over there still with them, and they barely promote him. You know, that's one of the things that stands out with me with Tyrone. But they promote their fighters. They interact with their fighters. You know, they on social media. You know, they send them messages and acts and you know just simple stuff like that. Like you know, they promote their fighters. Black Nation don't do that at all.
Yeah, I mean, and even right now, it seems like they're kind of along for the ride with everything that's going on with Maurice Hooker. That it more or less seems like the zone is really or Eddie
Right.
Hearn is out in front of that versus me really seeing a lot of stuff from Rock Nation.
Exactly, and that's their world champion that they built up.
Right. It would seem. It would seem like with him having this unification bout out here and a pretty big event for the zone. And like I said, I really haven't seen. Although I have to admit, I really haven't followed much of what Rock Nation is doing on social media or Rock Nation Sports. I really don't know what they got going on over there. I guess with the wins in basketball and some of the football signings, maybe that's kind of where they're focusing their efforts.
Yeah,
Um,
that's exactly what it is. You know, they into the music and the other sports. You know, which you can't blame them. Like you making a killing with that. So, but you know, we got lives and we got stuff we gotta do too. You know, you gotta take care of the fighters.
all right. So I saw that Esquiva Falcoa is fighting on this undercard with you next Friday. Um, his brother Yama dropped the fight surprisingly to Dayton, Ohio's Christopher Pearson. What'd you think about that, man?
Actually, I'm gonna be real. I know shit about that dude. I don't know anything about that kid. um, I didn't even watch the fight with Chris Pearson beat his brother. To be honest, I just think that Chris posted it and said that he beat him in the amateurs before. He gonna beat him again. That's the only thing that I remember. But big ups to Chris for winning that fight. You know, that's my boy.
That's kind of our lone guy down here in Dayton right now. Although, well, yeah, pretty much our lone guy that's out making some noise. That resulted
Yeah,
in
Chris
him.
a bad boy.
That resulted in him being able to move on to Golden Boy. Any thoughts on? He's kind of been everywhere. Going from Mayweather Promotions over to spending some time with Evander Holyfield's situation that I think is kind of dissolved, and now fighting his way back on the Golden Boy. Any thoughts on kind of the perseverance that you guys have to make this thing work and get ahead in this game?
Uh, man, it's hard, man, to be honest. But especially in Chris' position, you know, he was signed with top. What was it? The money team at first. Yeah, he signed with Florida, and he was signed with Florida at first, you know, and took a L, and you know he was shelved for a little bit, so it's kind of hard, you know, to come back after being out the game for that long. But Chris is that boy, man. He could be in there with a lot of top fighters, and beat some guys. So I think Chris will be alright. Chris will be good.
Okay. And then that's another thing, he's down here kind of more in between everything, with Cleveland jumping off a little bit, Toledo having his situation. You guys benefit from being in close proximity to Detroit. And then,
Yeah,
Cincinnati's an hour away. Columbus isn't really jumping as a fight town in a way. So he's just got
and
to.
that's crazy.
Right.
Columbus used to be well, that was amateur. You know, amateur. Columbus had a nice team, but Chris came down to Toledo and got some work in with a few of our fighters. You know, Chris, they get work in down here. You know, he got to work in with DeAndre Weir a few times. He got work in with Sonny. Even Sonny worked with him good. You know, Man, Chris a bad boy, man. I can't wait to see him bounce back and really step up, you know?
Right,
I
right.
hope Golden Boy really treat him right. Because he can be something, man. Chris is a bad boy. I like Chris. Even from the amateurs, like Chris was doing his thing.
Right. So next Friday, man, you have this Jessie Cris Rosales. I think he's 22, 2-1 with 10 knockouts. What do you know about him thus far?
I watched 2 fights. I only got to watch. Well, I didn't even watch the full fight. You know, I watched the fight when he fought. Of course, when he fought Shakur, I seen that live on TV, and then I watched another fight when he won. I think he was like 18-0 or something like that. I don't really know, but I don't really know too much about him. Like I said, I just watched the fight. And he's a good fighter, you know what I'm saying? But I don't see him beating me at all. Like with nothing, he don't have the speed. He don't know how to get away from speed. He's just a straight come forward guy, you know. And he tries to, you know, let his hands go a little bit, but I don't know too much about him. I really don't even get into, like, you know, trying to watch too much of the fighters. You know, I don't want to get into what they doing wrong and what they doing right, you know, because styles make fights. You never know, you know, what that fighter can do just off a loss or off a win, you know?
Right. Any concerns with, like you said, you went through a handful of opponents trying to get this together. Any concerns, this being kind of it's a serious situation with you, like you said, trying to get back into the rankings and move forward. But any concerns with, finding out who your opponent is 2 to 3 weeks or 2 weeks out?
Man, yeah, that's one of the reasons why, like, at this stage that I'm in, that I don't watch too much of my opponents, because they change so frequently, man. Like, I was, like I said, I went through like 4 or 5 opponents, and I would get into like training, and you know, my coach trained me like, okay, we training for this guy. He's so far, and he moves this way, and he's a boxer. You know, I'm training for that style. And then it comes a week later, I got to fight a Mexican brawler. Then after that, he pulls out. Now I'm fighting a guy that's orthodox, and he's a boxing puncher. You know, so I don't really get into too much of like trying to watch the opponent, because that happens too much to me, man. And it did kind of like frustrate me a little bit, because like I said, I was training for the Ivan Delgado guy, and he was a big puncher, kind of. You know, he could punch a little bit. He had a nice left hook, and I was training for that. And now this style is completely different. But I mean, it doesn't matter who I fight. You know, I'm training hard and I'm ready to fight whoever. It doesn't even matter. Once I get in there, I feel like I learned you, and I know what's best when I get in the ring. I feel you out, and I learn a lot after the first round or 2. You know.
Got you. Another comment. Are you saying that Columbus is an underappreciated fight town, especially with the presence of a major sports university? Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, Columbus is pretty much Ohio State. That's pretty much it there. I think the Blue Jackets in the NHL have been able to make make some inroads there, especially as the team's gotten better the last couple of years, and I think had a couple of playoff appearances and whatnot. I think the soccer team that's there, I think they do okay too, but I just don't think that Columbus has really had the fighter just yet to kind of really really the professional fighter to kind of get that ball rolling for any of the local shows. But I will say, the couple of events that I have been to in Columbus that were for professional boxing, they were the turnout was good, and it seemed like the fans and were engaged and whatnot. So I think it's an opportunity there. And honestly, one of the smaller fights that I saw there, I mean, hell, the people stood all 8 rounds for the Columbus fighters. So I think they just need the right guy to develop, and it'll be okay. So, who have you been working with
But
too? Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I'm not saying that Columbus is not a good fighting city, or that Toledo's or any other city is better than I'm saying Columbus. We all from Ohio and we represent Ohio, the whole Ohio. Whenever we go fight against these guys, and when we fight on TV, we represent the whole Ohio.
Yeah, I was following a couple of cats on Instagram, operating out of or based in Columbus. And like I said, it's just been kind of waiting on to see who's who's really gonna step forward.
Yeah, I actually fought in Columbus before, and now that you mentioned that you was at a show and they got good fans. That's true. I fought in Columbus, and it was a nice card. I fought outside. That's when I fought outside, and at a baseball field, and they did have a nice turnout. So it was a lot of fans. A lot of people supported the fights there. I don't see why I don't have a boxing star there. Somebody in their city that take the game over.
Yeah, I think right now it's kind of an opponent town. A couple of the guys have went out. I can't remember the Southpaw cat's name, but I saw he got stopped in the first round by Nikita Bobby on the Zone maybe about a month or so ago. But like I said, I watch some of these guys on Instagram, and I'm kind of keeping an eye. They do have a pretty good organization down there. I think it's the guy that put together the fight for you. I think because Sonny's fought in Columbus and yourself, so
Yeah.
It's an opportunity down there. They just need the right fighter.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice fight. Kind of like they support their boxing shows. They get a nice turnout. Like they have fights at the casino down there and everything.
Right.
We haven't even had a fight at our casino yet. They got nice venues and everything down there for the fighters.
Carlos Castillo mentions almost 800,000 population. Not bad. Yeah, like I said, it's plenty of opportunity there. I think it's the Hollywood Casino, I believe is the name of it, right outside of Columbus. Last year they had a very deep card. I want to say it was a dozen fighters on there. I believe it was in springtime or late spring or something. I didn't get a chance to make it down to that one because it was a good fight on TV that day, and I couldn't get in touch with the promoter. So, but it may have been over a dozen fights on there. Let's put on the show. Exactly. As soon as you give me the money, as you give me the budget. But who have you been working with?
Columbus,
go ahead.
Yeah, Columbus is a nice town for boxing. To be honest, they got the best venues. They got the best venues, and they really support it out there.
That's what I was getting ready to say. I felt like the venues, they do have some of the best venues in the state, and it's like I said, they just need the right individual to kind of kick it off. But I think it's the fact that, like I said, you've been down there, you fought. Sonny Fredrickson's fought down there, I believe, at least twice. The Alante Green kid, the heavyweight out of Cleveland's been down there. I thought Antonio Nieves had fought down there too, but so a lot of the guys from across the state are heading there to support the events that are or participate in the shows that are happening there. And like I said, it's easier to get around in Cincinnati. I like Columbus. They're just gonna need the right individual.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
So who have you been? Who's some of the partners or sparring partners that you've been taking advantage of and trying to get prepared for this Rosales fight?
I've been sparring heavier opponents, to be honest. Well, heavier sparring partners, I won't call them opponents, but Toledo and Ohio, we don't really got a lot of fighters down here that's at the smaller weight, the featherweight, super featherweight. But I sparred Albert a few times before his last fight, which was when I first started camp. That was when I first had done camp. So I got in about a good 3 or 4 sessions with Albert. And then I sparred my main sparring partner, who I always 140 pound prospect. Raymond Castaneda, I think he's 6-0 or 5-0. He's from Defiance, but he fights here out of Toledo as well. I got in a few rounds. I want to say like 1 or 2 sessions with Otha Jones, which is another prospect from the zone. A nice young fighter. And Sonny, I get work in with Sonny. You know, that be the only, help I get in Toledo, like I said, as far as like that's the only help I get in Toledo here and there is between Albert and Sonny and my main sparring partner, Rock, Raymond Castaneda. You know, that's who I use every training camp, every fighter on.
What's your thoughts on
always trying to help.
What's your thoughts on what this kid Otha Jones III is doing, man? He's kind of come on the scene, a pretty good, an excellent amateur career from what I understand, but he's being pretty active on the zone right now and taking advantage of that opportunity to be one of the young U.S. fighters that they have over there. What do you think about what he's doing?
I like what he's doing. He's doing what he's supposed to do. You know, he's telling and he's winning them. You know, and I hope the zone keep pushing them and feeding them the fights that they are right now. You know, because he's a good fighter. Definitely a future world champion. You know, he can fight his ass off. He always get in some good work, and I help him whenever I can. But yeah, I hope the zone keep doing his thing, keep pushing them, keep putting them on them big cards over there. Because that's the number one thing I think that a lot of promoters should do is get their young fighters on big cards, you know, and let their young fighters feel that atmosphere, you know, the bright lights early on. Because that's one thing that Right Nation didn't do with me. You know, I'd have had 13, 12 fights before I even seen the big stage, before I seen the Vegas card. You know, that was my first big fight. Remember when I fought in Vegas on the Andre Ward undercard? And I feel like that's what a lot of promoters should do is get their young fighters on the main cards, the big cards. You know, let them feel those bright lights and let them shine on those bright lights early. You know, so it won't be such of a distraction or how can I say it? Or they won't be, you know, too nervous the first time going out there. You know, you don't want to have a 16-0, 17-0 fighter and they never been above or in front of more than 10,000 fans or 7,000 fans, you know.
So how was that for you? Like you said, you were on that on the Andre Ward card a couple years ago. I think that was a positive trip for you. Moving over to the Kubrat Pulev fight in Dinu, I don't think you made it on to the ESPN Plus coverage that fight.
Nah, man. I kind of got bad luck or something, man. I'm always getting swing spots. I don't know what it is, but they gave me a swing bout, and that was kind of one of the things too that kind of distracted me and drained me. You know, I had to show up to the venue at 3 p.m. and I don't fight until midnight. You know, and I don't eat or nothing in between that, and I keep warming up and sitting down, keep warming up and sitting down. That's all swing bouts, you know, that take a lot out of you. So I was the end of the night fight again. That's like the third time I fought on Robert Easter card as a swing bout here in Toledo. And I didn't fight till 1 o'clock, you know, almost 1 o'clock that night.
Right, I was getting ready to mention that because I was there that night, and that was late as hell. So,
man.
So moving into this one, have they confirmed that you will be on the ESPN Plus action?
Yes,
I think that's what the press release.
Yes, they definitely confirmed that I'll be on the ESPN Plus card, and I won't be a swing bout. People won't be able to tune in and watch me. And that was a big relief, to be honest, because like I said, that takes a lot out of you, man, being back there, and you can't eat. You can't eat, but I chose not to eat. I wasn't hungry, you know, until late on. And you keep warming up, getting ready. They telling you your swing bout. So after this fight get a knockout, you hold on, but everybody's not getting a knockout, or somebody get a knockout, and the next fight is on, you know, but that was a big relief that they told me that I will be fighting on the ESPN Plus app, and my people will be able to tune in.
All right. So, what's your thoughts about heading east, man, to fight in the nation's capital? I think you've you have some history in that area. So what's your outlook or your level of anticipation moving towards this fight?
Man, I'm actually excited to fight at the MGM National Harbor. I don't remember a lot if I fought there or not, to be honest, or around that area. No, I haven't fought around that area, I don't believe, but I've been to DC once, and then I've been to, I know Robert fought in DC about a few, matter of fact, he fought Mendez in DC, and I went to that fight. But I'm excited, man. I got a lot of people coming to support, a lot of fans coming to support. My brothers coming to support. Robert Easter. I think Tank said he was going to come down and support. You know, that's going to be big. You know, to see those Al Heyman guys and top ranked venue. You know, but Tank fights there next week, so I don't know if he really will be able to. I don't know if he'll feel good to come. You know, sometimes I don't be wanting to be out a week before my fight because I be so tired from training and putting all the work in. But like I said, I got a lot of my brothers coming to support, fans, family. It's going to be a great night of boxing, and I'm looking to steal the show and broadcast my skills on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, and you're right. I was wondering if Tank would be able to make it over. I know you guys have a pretty decent relationship and everything, but that would be dope, and especially in that environment. I think that MGM National Harbor is a pretty nice venue. We got another question. Having said that, I recently watched all of the DAZN prelims after the fact, and I know that I'm not the only one. Probably more of the boxing purists will do that. So, yeah, I agree with that. We see a whole. I don't know, man. One of the things that's frustrating me with the Tank situation, I don't want to get into my disappointment in this current opponent, but looking forward. We see the back and forth that's been brewing for over a year now with Davis and Farmer. How would you see that fight play out, man?
I'm not even just choosing sides. I'm not just saying this because Tank my boy, but man, I just feel like Tevin better just keep doing what he's doing, running his mouth. Better just keep, staying away from Tank, man. Tank a bad boy, he's dangerous, man. I see that fight playing out real ugly for Tevin. Tank just too much, man. Too much at 130. It's too much at 130 for these guys. I don't know, man. I just feel like Tevin don't have nothing coming. Tevin won't be able to beat Tank at all.
Yeah, I'm trying to believe in it, but it is what it is. We'll see. So look, man,
and then these opponents, that they both keep fighting. They both keep fighting mandatory. So we can't be mad at that, man. We can't keep saying they fighting nobody or they cherry picking. These are these guys mandatories, and mandatories work their way up to be mandatory. They don't just become mandatories by being handpicked. So these guys ain't just pushovers or coming to lay down. Even though they some of them do lay down, they don't come to lay down. They mandatories. Just like when Robert Easter fought all his mandatories, he had the toughest mandatories I've seen. He had a tough list. After winning the belt, he had one of the toughest resumes. And like I said, they mandatory. We can't be mad at them fighting their mandatories, but we do want to see Tank and Tevin square up. Man, there's been a lot of talking, and it should be a fight soon. They promotions and management should come together, sit down, and make that fight happen. That's a big fight.
In your pro opinion, who's the best threat to Tank at 130?
Who's the best what?
The best threat.
The best threat?
Yeah.
At 130, the best threat out of the champions. Because it's a lot of fighters at 130. That's big and that's good. But the best champion, I think. I really can't say any of them a threat, to be honest, But I think the better fight will be with Lomachenko, and I still see Tank beating Lomachenko. No cap, like Lomo's good, Matter of fact, Lomo's great, but man, come on, man, they kind of hyping. They kind of hyping it, like, as far as like if the shoe was on the other foot, you know, Tank was what is I'm gonna say, 12-1 or 13-1. Tank was 13-1. Would they be considering him a great if he had lost the fight to Toledo? You know, I think they only doing that really because of the amateur background and all of that. None of that stuff matters when you're in the pros, man.
Right. Well, look, man, you're 26 now. You know, do you feel any pressure, man, to make a big step in the next 12 to 18 months? You know,
Definitely.
we're kind of in a bit of a youth movement with some of the different guys that are out there. You just mentioned Otha Jones is doing his thing. Devin Haney's out there. The guy at the top of this card that you'll be on, Teofimo Lopez, is doing his thing.
Shakur
Stevenson. So
yes, sir. That's the bad boy right there.
Do you feel like you got to get it's like you got to get started now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in no rush, you know, because I mean, greatness is a process, man. You know, everybody goes through their process. I'm in no rush, but I do feel like my time is coming, and it should be real soon. I want to give myself at least a year. I say after this fight, I want another step up, and give me another undefeated prospect or contender. Give me somebody with a name, and after that we get a world title. You know, I'm ready to step up. I've been ready to step up. You know, that last fight kind of was like a step back, to be honest. You know, I took that draw, and my body was going different. I was overweight and couldn't make the weight, you know, so I had to go back to the team, go back to the drawing board, and, you know, figure out which weight I want to campaign at. Do I still want to fight at 26 or not? Which I kind of still believe I can make 26 with the right nutritionist and, you know, the right foods and stuff, and eating right. I still think I can make 26. So I don't know if I'm going to try that again after this fight or not, but we'll see after this fight how I feel at 130 and, you know, stuff like that.
We have a question from the chat about, I mean, I kind of think I know where you might go with this, but the question was asked, you know, how would you and Tank match up, or is that even a fight that you guys would ever entertain?
I mean, boxing is a business, bro. You know, it's business first. You know, never personal, never nothing personal. But I mean, me and Tank that's my brother. I've been knowing Tank a long time, and we talk him every day. We never really like thought about fighting. He made a joke one time because this was probably like a couple months ago. I was ranked number 4. No, I was ranked number 3 in the WBA, and he had the WBA, and he was like, but I was out of he like Tyler, he didn't read it, so fucked up in the head. So he didn't read it, said better. He said, Tyler, you number 3? He said, oh, we gonna have to fight. He said, man, you gonna have to fight, I'm gonna have to knock your ass out. I'm like, nah, bitch, I'm knock you out, you know, we talking stuff that was something like that. But no, we never really like talked about fighting each other, you know. We don't get into that, that's my boy. But I mean, boxing is a business. If it happens, it happens, you know. But I wouldn't see him taking that fight or me taking that fight either, unless it makes sense, you know.
That's kind of one of those things. It'd be a good problem to run into, to have to even, you know, if that was to happen, that means that a lot of stuff would have had to have gone right for yourself and what you do.
Yeah, exactly. If I become a mandatory or something like that, like, I mean, it's boxing, man. We both in the same weight division right now, but like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna go back to featherweight after this fight. You know, try to get a nutritionist and get my weight now. Yeah, 130. See how I feel after this fight. Actually, in sparring, I've been feeling great at 130. I've been feeling stronger. You know, I didn't have to cut as much weight coming down. I still had to cut as much as I normally do, so I feel good.
So you had your outlook at featherweight. I know you put out the challenges a couple times, and just in social media, and you know, had some guys you were targeting. Maybe restarting here at super featherweight at 130. Who's some individuals that you know, you think like you said, if you step up in the next 12 to 18, Who's some individuals that you see yourself matching up well against? I mean, I see Oshaki Foster's moved up a little bit. Vincez is out there. You had a familiarity there. Um, some other guys on here. Shafikov, you have some familiarity with him being a previous opponent of Robert Easter Jr., Jason Sosa. Anybody you see that you go to Top Rank and say, I need that?
I spar with Oshaki. That's a bad boy too. That's my guy. He's a good fighter. I mean, anybody, to be honest. I mean, I like that Jason Sosa fight. That's a good fight. That'll look like it'll be a good fight from me on paper. Anybody, to be honest. After this fight, we'll see. Like I said, I'm gonna see how I feel at 130. I'm a big guy for 130 and 126. To be honest, I'm taller and longer than a lot of guys, and I feel like I'm bigger than a lot of guys. But I have to see, man. It's a couple fighters out there that I sparred and beat up on that fight for 130 and 135. So it doesn't really even matter who it is. We can get it on, man.
All right. Just a couple more questions, man. We running a little long here.
No, it's all good, man. You my guy. I like talking. I like talking with you.
Well, I appreciate that. Last time out, Robert Easter Jr. Was in a fight that drew a lot of criticism just based on the level of excitement or lack of excitement in it. Seemed like some of that was not his fault, or the majority of that might not have been his fault, but the way that Barthélemy chose to go about fighting. Coming out of that, the thought was that Easter or E-Bunny will move up. Do you think that's what we'll see from E-Bunny in the future, is him moving up?
Possibly for sure. It's the best possible. But like you said, that fight was, man, that is Styles, man. I don't know why he always gets the short end of the stick, where he gets the awkwardest guys or the most ruggedest guys. He could never get like the best fight he had was the Mikey Garcia fight. It was like both of them styles was good. Like, it wasn't just a regular wild fight. You know what I'm saying? But we could possibly see Bunny move up to 140. I think that'll be good for Bunny. He's been fighting 135 his whole career. I mean, it hasn't been tough to make it through. Right at 132, 133 is last fight or something like that. So it hasn't been tough to make it. But to see him fight at 140 and to keep some of that weight on him and to not lose as much, that's gonna be crazy. To keep that power and all of that, because he's strong as hell. And when he spars in camp, the guys he's sparring fighting about 47, 40, and he get down to 135, 137, 138 during camp. You know what I'm saying? And he even keeping up with him. He keeps going up with him good. So I think if he moves to 140, he'd be a lot stronger, a lot more dangerous, and we'll see that E-Bunny back. I was putting people down.
All right. I don't even know where to go with your biggest bro, Adrian Broner. He's moving into an interesting spot in his career. He needs to. He definitely needs a win and a good win. I don't know, man. What do you think's left for him to do, or have you guys spoken? And is he still excited about his, what he can do moving forward, or?
Yeah, of course. He it's a lot of opportunities out there for AB, man. It's still a lot of opportunity out there for him. Because people pay to come see him. To take their ass whooping and come see him lose. He's still a big draw, still one of the biggest draws in boxing. So it's still a lot of opportunity left out there. I think he definitely needs another win. He need a win. I don't know which weight, man. I think if we keep telling him to fight 40, man. Fight 40. 47 is kind of too big. And he makes 47, 40 easy as hell. Like, this dude can make the weight. He's just one of those guys that never turned down a fight, He gets the biggest fight possible. He never turns it down. any fight that they bring to him, he's taking it. It don't matter who it is, and that's kind of rare in boxing. A lot of people don't do that nowadays. You know, especially champions. They don't take risks like AB takes risks. You know, he takes on the biggest risk, and it's not even for the money. You know, because dude well off right now, and he don't need no money at all. But he just do it because, like, I don't know, man. The guy is just, he's different, man. And we talk about that a lot. We talk about that all the time. How he always takes the biggest risk, and he fight anybody in boxing. It doesn't matter who it is. But I want to see him go down 40, and I want to see him. He can be great at 140. Take over at 140 division if you ask me.
All right. Just two more questions, man. I'll let you get on with your day. Recover from this run. What's your thoughts, man, on taking a look at having the reality that you could be fighting on ESPN versus what your thoughts may have been to where you could have landed on TV maybe before coming into this top rank situation?
To be honest, I mean, ESPN is good. ESPN is one of the biggest sports broadcasters. None of that stuff really matters to me, man. Like, if I was fighting on ESPN or Showtime or whatever, it doesn't matter, man. But what I do know is that the app scene, like the Zone and the ESPN Plus and all that, that's about to take over. So it's a good thing that's how Ray got the app, the ESPN Plus app, and I'm grateful to be a part of the team.
I was joking with Albert Bell about trying to explain to his local, his fans in Toledo and his supporters in Toledo, and he had mentioned, some frustrations with trying to get people to figure out how to see him and figuring out ESPN Plus and getting into a TV and all that. Have you encountered that?
I don't understand. Like, what's the frustration about? We've been on technology our whole life down there, especially young kids. All you gotta do is ask these young kids how to do it and get it. All you gotta do is download the app, man. Sign up for a 7 days subscription, I think, or something like that. And what is it? $5, $10 a month?
I think you get 7 free days.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do is just download the app. Like, I did it. I even did it. I downloaded it and watched a few fights on there, and it's cool. I mean, it's convenient. It's convenient as hell to just pull up your phone and watch your boy fighting on ESPN. You can't make it to the TV, or you at work, or anything. You drive and you pull over and watch it on your phone. That's convenient as hell.
Yeah, I agree. Just a quick comment. Carlos in the chat mentioned, but how many apps can people afford? I would agree. I think that's the thing that I was thinking about this the other day, that you have the Zone out here, which in my opinion, I think they're gonna have to do something with that $19.99 price point. I don't see that sitting well with too many people.
Nah, man. People, I mean, you can't get greedy with it now, man. $20 a month, that's another bill. $10 is okay. $7, $8 is okay. But $20, that's another bill. People ain't about to just be paying $20 out of their check, a month. That adds up. I agree with Carlos, man. How many apps can people afford? I think we should leave it at a minimum of what is that now? 2 or 3 of them. I see they got this other thing, the UFC Fight Pass.
Right.
That people boxing on. I kind of liked it what Golden Boy was doing with the Facebook thing too, which I thought that was cool. Because, like I said, people rarely watch TV now, and the apps and to watch it on your phone is way more convenient.
And let's not confuse anybody that might check this out before fight night. You can watch this on a laptop. You can watch it on a tablet. If you have any of the devices for TVs, that go in through the HDMI or the USB, you can stream it, or you can download the app to your to that device, or download the app on your smart TV. You are not stuck watching this stuff on a cell phone. That's just not the case.
Oh
like,
yeah.
like
Oh
you
yeah.
just said, go out here and talk to some of your younger family members and let them get you together so that you can watch the fights that you want to see.
Man,
But again, it
you.
is kind of a struggle with because now it's like we're moving away from cable, but now we're still at the end of the day we could still be paying the same type of the same a total that matches what we were paying for cable, and it's kind of being a transfer to that now where you're gonna have 7 or 8. I mean, hell, even I think DC Comics has an app now it's a pay app or a subscription fee or a subscription to it to watch 4 or 5 different kind of TV series for their comic books and whatnot. So it's getting a little outrageous, but I think like any market though, the strong and the best ones will survive, and those that come in late and can't get the right assets on there, or the quality's not there, they'll fall off. But I think it is getting a little out of control right now. So I'm gonna just stick with ESPN Plus and the Zone, and after that I'm kind of done. But like you said,
Yeah.
I do think the Facebook situation has done really well, and then you also have Fight Night TV, which shows fights through their Facebook page. So I've caught some pretty good action on there as well. I'm gonna let you get out of here, man. What is what's the rest of 2019 looking like for you? I know you got to take business. I know you got to take care of business next Friday. But what's ideally, what would you like to see for yourself by the end of 2019?
Yeah, I want to take care. I'm gonna take care of this fight here. This July card, and maybe come again October. I want to come again. I want to get at least another fight in. A fight or two if possible. 2 if possible. But I know for sure I'm going to fight again one time this year. But I want to try to get 2 more in. I want to step up as well, I want to get another undefeated fighter in with me. And possibly, probably get an elimination bout or a title fight in, early 2020.
Yeah, and I'm tripping.
I definitely want to step up, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to take on some big names, man.
That situation with Albert Bell. I mean, is that really motivational just to say, you're that close and now I mean I see he just got the key to the city or something, or was recognized by the the local government there in Toledo. It's just been he's been on local TV and all of that. So are these things just feeding into to stay committed and to stay disciplined with everything?
I mean, I really don't have that problem as not being disciplined and committed. I'm always self-motivated. I've always been self-motivated. I mean, to see Albert get that win was great. And it motivated. It always motivates you to see your boys win. But that's nothing we haven't seen before. When we watch Robert Easter win the championship and get the key to the city and do all that, and to see Albert do it all over again, to go win his junior WBC title and get the key to the city and get recognized. That see that again is motivation. You're right, but I've always been self-motivated. When I see my boys win, I just know my time next.
Right. I saw yesterday, I believe, they had some activity out in the community for Shakur Stevenson and Joshua Greer Jr. Do you know next week when you get into town, will you be doing anything locally, some kind of outreach?
They haven't really said too much about it. I don't know. I think they only did it for Shakur, because that was his hometown, his first main event, and TV stuff like that. I think they did that for him because it was in his hometown. I don't really know what we got going on with the fight week schedule right now for DC. I'll check on that later and I'll get back to you. But I don't know, man. I'm just ready to go in there, weigh in and fight. That's all I care about is the weigh-ins and fight.
You got to help yourself before you can help others, right?
Man, I mean, it's all good. It's all good, to get back to the communities and interact with the kids and stuff. I'm all for that. But shit, give me to the way.
Hey, what's your very last question, man? What's your thoughts on Lopez, Teofimo Lopez, and do you think this is being associated or being on this card with him, you know, it's going to help draw attention to what you're doing. And with you being on the ESPN Plus portion of this card, what's your thoughts on the buzz that he's generating? I mean, I heard him yesterday morning during the Rob Brandt and Murata fight, referring to him as the most devastating force in boxing.
He's doing what he's supposed to do.
The single most devastating force.
Yeah. He's doing what he's supposed to do. Shit. He's doing what he's supposed to do, man. That's all I can say. I don't really know too much about Teofimo. I seen him fight. I think he could fight a little bit. He did. But the devastating force in boxing, big ups to him, man. Shit, that's great to have people saying that about him. I seen something like that on ESPN too, that they say he was one of the. They said the same thing. I think it was Max Kellerman that said it or something like that.
Okay.
And big ups to him, man. He's doing his thing. He's doing what he's supposed to do, getting these people out of here. What is he, 13-0? 13-0.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, he's doing what he's supposed to do, man. And they get the thing is they getting him the right fights, man. Fights that's tailor made for his style, man. And getting them boys in there and getting them out of there. And he took the fights that he needed to take to step up. You know, they gradually stepped him up and got him to that point. And I think that's what all promoters should do or try to do with all their fighters. Get them in there with former world champions and shit. He knocked them out, and he deserves this shot he's getting. So can't be mad at him for doing this thing. Big up to him, man.
So and you're still working with Coach Wright, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's you'll never have to question that again. That's my coach to the end. You know, I'm big on loyalty. You know, whoever I start with, that's who I'm finishing with.
What's his thoughts, man, on this move over to and working alongside with Prince and or the top rank execs?
He was all for it. He liked what they got going on. You know Lamar. He deals with all the fighters' management and all that. You know, he deals with all of them, man. He says that, no disrespect to any other manager or whatever, but he says that Prince, one of the best ones, you know, to work with. You know, he's calling them, he's communicating with them, and you know, and the most he's keeping his promises to everything that he's saying. So Lamar's happy with it. I'm happy with it. I can't wait to see what else the future holds between me and Prince, me and Top Rank. And I see big things coming, hopefully.
Okay.
I just got to take care of my part. Got to do what I got to do.
Okay. Well, like I said, man, we hadn't spoken in a while, and I know I did the interview with you down in Cincinnati, and my man, whose brother had just been violently knocked out, messed up my clip, so I didn't post.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I didn't post the video. I was thinking about how to post it and kind of make a little fun out of the brother, but I understood that he was very upset and what just happened. I mean, and rightfully so.
Man,
but,
I mean, it's boxing. A lot of people, you can't be mad your brother just got knocked out or beat or whatever. It's boxing, man.
Right. That was my whole.
People win.
That was my whole thing, was like, you in here all emotional now, but you was the main one out during the fight yelling over his coach, you know, and messing and interfering with what was going on with the ring. I mean, inside the ring, and could have contributed to, even though it's a club show, and I think the cat was from Puerto Rico, but, not everybody shows up to these club shows in the middle of nowhere or, in the Midwest to lose these fights. You know, these guys coming in here to make a name for themselves as well. And his brother just ran into a guy who, nobody kind of saw that coming.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely did. I mean, I really didn't know too much about the fight, but when he walked to the ring, and I'm looking at him like, oh, yeah, my guy got this. But, I mean, they said that the dude was 10, 15, 20 pounds bigger, so that fight shouldn't have been taken in the first place. That's his fault. That's what happens in boxing. That's why his weight class is for a reason, man.
Right. All right, man. Well, we'll get together definitely after the fight. I'll be in town that night, so I'll holler at you at the event. it's good to hear that the family is making it over there, and that you're gonna have some guys. I mean, some family and some supporters in the house, and I'm rooting for you. So we'll link up next week.
All right, man. Appreciate you, man.
All right, take care, boss.
All righty.
All right, so that was Tyler McCreary. Like I said, man, I've been watching the kid for a minute. He was down there at the at featherweight and was making some noise and had moved up to onto all of the in the rankings and was getting himself in position to challenge for a some kind of title fight. Maybe not a world title fight, but definitely was positioned, being in both of the rankings, high in the rankings like that. And that's just kind of crazy how one fight can alter the situation and create more work for a fighter. And with him being in between situations, coming over from Rock Nation, that's part of the game. And that's one reason why I kind of we watched the the pay-per-view stuff and the feature fights, the main events on some of these bigger outlets and whatnot, Showtime and all of that, and get so enamored with what's going on up there. But it's a long way for the individuals that are in the pipeline. I mean, last night we saw the situation with the heavyweight, Jermaine Franklin, who a day later, 24 hours later, the situation really isn't looking so great for that young man. And some of the criticism was really kind of harsh on what's going on with him. So it's challenging. But like I said, man, I just wanted to get my man. Obviously, he's an Ohio kid, an Ohio fighter. And, I just wanted to make sure that there was a platform for him, to talk about what's going on with him. So I'm going to get ready to get on out of here. I actually, looking at the whole situation last night with Jermaine Franklin, I guess I did want to speak on that a little bit before I got on out of here. I wasn't sure if Tyler was coming on, so I still wanted to do a live stream today. So with the Franklin fight against Jerry Forrest last night in the main event, it was kind of one thing that was disappointing was the Showtime. That wasn't a good showbox. I mean, plain and simple, that just wasn't a good showbox card, and it wasn't helped by the fact that the Otto Volin and BJ Flores card or fight fell off of the card, and unfortunately, I guess they didn't have anybody else on there that they thought they could, maintain the triple header that we were all planning for. But Jermaine Franklin, he's a guy that's stepped back, taking a step backwards. The Rydell Booker fight on the Claressa Shields and Christina Hammer undercard, and then last night being at the top of this in the main event of the showbox last night. Very confident guy. I actually saw him down in Cincinnati at a club show maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years now, and he got a knockout that night. But yeah, man, a guy that's said quite a bit in terms about what he is, in terms of getting ready, to working himself into contention at heavyweight. But if you watch the fight last night, I mean, the one glaring thing for me was the fact that he's inaccurate as hell with his right hand. And even when Forrest dropped his hands later in the fight, he still couldn't connect up top. They credit him with 38 body shots at the end of the fight. I didn't think I really counted quite that many. Definitely not clean body shots. But yeah, man, I think that fight last night took a lot of luster off of him. It doesn't seem like he's responding to what's going on with his cornerman. And it'll be interesting to see. I don't think he won that fight. Definitely not 7-3 on two of the cards. I didn't see that. But Forrest kind of helped out the decision. I thought he was not a violent enough heavyweight. He did land some shots with the overhand left. He did do some damage. He tried to show some slickness. He loosened up a little bit at the end of the fight, but I think he mentioned it himself in his analysis that his plan was to box smart, and I just don't think at the heavyweight division, I don't think we always want to see or we always respect smart boxing without that big conclusion at the end from our heavyweights. So it was what it was, you know. Unfortunately, you know, it's another bad scoring card for boxing. It was on a prospect-driven show like Showbox versus being on, you know, one of the main events for PBC on Fox, or you know, the DAZN cards, the Golden Boy stuff. So you know, I thought Forrest could have helped himself out and been a little bit more assertive, especially when he showed that he could outbox you know, Jermaine. But I hope it's not completely over for Jermaine, but I think he definitely needs to work on his agility. He was lower. He was 6 pounds lower in that fight than what he was when he came in against Booker. But you know, he definitely needs some more tools in his toolbox. And just like I said, man, to get inside and not be able to see what you hit and hit what you see was just telling. So look, man, I'm gonna get ready to get on off of here. I'm gonna try to make it to this gym and get my workout in for the day. I can't remember. Did I still have my notes? It's some action. It's some action that's coming on the ESPN Plus app. I did find my notes. I just wanted to put that out there at 2:45 p.m. on ESPN Plus. You can check that out. The Daniel Dubois versus Nathan Gorman. Also, Joe Joyce versus Brian Jennings on there. So I'm going to check that out. And then later on tonight, you have your selection, whether it be on the DAZN app with Ray Vargas and Tomoki Kamita, or on PBC on Fox out of Minnesota at the Armory, Jamal James versus Antonio DeMarco. So you can get all the action, you know, your boxing fix that you like. Let me get on out of here. Like I always in this thing, man, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Peace.
That's it, fuck that, that's it. Just the one, just the one. Everybody come, ride with the gun, live for my queen, die for my son, drink in my cup, smoke in my lungs, life do we leave, get off fear none. I look around, the city I'm from, the places we've been, the spots that we hung, and it ain't the same, but we don't complain, but make no mistakes. I ride with the mob, stay with the drum, bitch I don't fear none, me and my OG. Going on OG, pushing my lungs, gotta stay focused, keep both eyes open, cause where I'm from, niggas hopeless, they'll blow shit, they don't know shit. I ride with the mob, stay with the drum, bitch I don't fear none, me and my OG. Going on OG, pushing my lungs, gotta stay focused, keep both eyes open, cause where I'm from, niggas hopeless, they'll blow shit, they don't know shit. What should I ride? The Benz or the Lack? Hit the highway with the wind on my back, blood in my eyes, tears in my yak. The nigga that you met, same nigga in my raps. I hit the road with minimal luggage. I came with killers if I'm in the function. I move with gorillas and all of his thugging. They ask where we from, straight out the jungle.